And to think, I almost forgot to mention the damn Pepsi Zero. I almost got mad at myself. I'm going to put this in the intro of the video, actually. I got my Pepsi Zero. It was sitting here during this whole video, and it's freaking delicious. And I didn't forget, but I almost forgot. And then I drank half a cup of it. Stuff's amazing. Okay, YouTube. So, this is going to be a story, right? We're going to do story time. And at some point in my editing ability, way farther in the future, I'll have had like this cool ass story time prompt come up, like whoosh in gold letters or some shit. Remember I said that. Just give it like a year when I'm capable of editing something, and I'm going to be like unstoppable. Anyway, story time. So this is the story about how I got into arm wrestling and why I got into arm wrestling per se. So, okay, but this is going to include like a lot of back history and why this sport specifically is my main focus as far as like why I train and everything. So I was 15, and I started having really bad back pain, like way bad, okay? So went to the doctor, said it was nothing, went to the doctor, said it was nothing. Eventually, finally got an MRI. Well, I had to go through physical therapy for 2 weeks first, and I couldn't even make it through the physical therapy. I went one time, and I couldn't walk for like 2 days after I went the first time. And I went to the spine specialist that they sent me to right before I could get the MRI, and I was like, man, I can't do this. Like, it is bad. And I told him, I said, I know it wasn't anything muscular because I'd already been in the gyms for a while. I'd already been training some. I knew I wasn't having a muscular problem, I guess would be it for lack of better terms, or a flexibility issue. I took stretching for pretty serious. Well, finally at the MRI, he said, okay, I'm going to waive the physical therapy. It looks like you might actually have something serious. So I get the MRI, and at this point, a lot of time had elapsed because it took a long time to schedule everything. It took a long time to finally get in there. I was, I believe, 15 or 16, maybe 16. I was driving, I think, so I think I was like 16. So, I'm like 16, I finally get this MRI results back, everything's done and simple, and no, it did not take a year for me to get the results. It just, but by the time I had got the pictures taken, it had been about that long. So, I was about 16, I got the results back, and they called me, and they scheduled the appointment immediately because I already had 3 herniated discs. One was herniating and was bulging and was pushing on my sciatic nerve, and I was having a ton of leg pain in my left leg, and the rest of my back was just hurting really bad. It was hard for me to sit down, hard for me to really do anything. I had still trained a little bit, but at this point I already wasn't doing low back work. Not much of it anyway. I was doing some body weight squats. It was all I could really manage. So I get through this, and they were like, okay, so you're 16, you got a few herniated discs, it looks like the rest of your body, your rest of your spine is doing the same thing eventually. It's looking pretty bad. They asked me if there was any injuries, and I had no prior injuries. It was just something that was domino affecting, and they're like, well, you can get surgery, or you can get spinal injections or epidurals where they put a needle in your spine and give you like these steroid injections, and they're supposed to reduce inflammation and pain and blah blah blah. So I'm not a doctor, so I get these injections because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to get on, I don't want a rod in my back or anything, and I didn't really want to be on narcotics either. I didn't want to be on pain medicine and shit like that. I mean, I wasn't even 18. So I get these spine injections from this imaging center, and I probably get them for about a year and a half. Nothing really helped. I mean, it would help me for a little while, not very long. It was terrible. At this point, I was like 17, give or take, and it got so bad where I couldn't even weightlift anymore. And weightlifting for me was my therapy even back then. It was terrible to not be able to lift for about 9-10 months. I mean, it took everything out of me. I was getting super depressed. Weights is actually what got me out of my depression from the get-go. And I was really upset. My whole dream at this point was to be a strongman or a competitive power lifter. I couldn't do that anymore. I was losing my gains by the day. It was horrible for me for that while I was 18. I finally, in the midst of me being 18, got a new spine doctor, and he was able to give me injections that would actually help me. I was able to get my leg pain fixed. The back pain was the same, maybe a little buffered, but pretty much the same, but my leg pain was gone. I could at least walk, and I could walk normal. So at this point, I was on a bunch of medicine. I was on a bunch of medicine, and I'm not going to give you the list or anything, but I was on a lot of shit. I would wake up in the morning, and I would take like 5 or 6 pills, and then throughout the day, I'd take another handful. And I was 18, taking a bunch of pills, depressed because I couldn't work out. I felt like my back was going to completely shit on me, and my dreams of what I wanted to do had been crushed because I couldn't even do the sports that I wanted to do. And finally, I was able to train again, at least some. And it was the best feeling in the world. Now, I had accepted that I'd never be a power lifter anymore, and I'd accepted I'd never be a strongman anymore. However, I still loved training, and I still wanted to get really strong, at least where I could get strong. My cousin, at this point, I think I'm 19, mid-19, I think. Let me recap. I was on a bunch of medicine. So I woke up one morning, I was about to turn 19, and I was hurting really bad, and I was on all this medicine, and I got so pissed. And I was so mad that I had taken all this medicine and I was still hurting. I couldn't do the things I wanted to do. I just dumped everything down the toilet. And to this day, I've never taken anything else. And I don't plan on it. I mean, if I got a cold, of course I'll take a little, whatever the hell it's called. Or, I don't know, Tylenol or whatever the shit you take for a cold. But anyway, antibiotic or whatever. I'll take that. But anyway, I dumped all this medicine down the toilet. Now, if your doctor prescribes you something, I am not telling you to do that. Do not actually don't dump all your medicine down the damn toilet. That is a terrible idea. But I was mad. I was mad at the world. I was mad at me. I was mad at everything. I was mad at genetics. Mad at the doctors. And I did. I don't regret that decision either, because I don't feel any different. Plus, I'm not having to take a bunch of medicine. So anyway, I dumped the medicine and my leg pain's fixed at this point. And I'm able to train some. Well, I trained for a little while. I'm finally getting a little more happy. I'm not so depressed anymore. I'm getting strong where I can get strong. I'm just kind of staying away from low back and leg work. I'm doing like a little bit, but not really much of anything because I don't want to hurt anything. So at this point, my cousin Carrie told me, he was like, hey man, I got this guy. His name's Hunter. And y'all know him as Hunter Knopf, Carolina Killer, winner of the round robin. He's a beast. But anyway, I was 19, give or take, maybe close to 20, somewhere in there. I think I was like 19 and a half probably. Anyway, so Carrie calls me, he's telling me about this guy, and he's like, hey, dude's an arm wrestler, man. He's super strong. He's 154 pounds. He might not even been that heavy back then, I don't remember. But he's like 150 pounds, dude. He's so strong. And, I wasn't no arm wrestler. I'd actually never arm wrestled before other than like at my house at this time. And I was like, bro, I will smash this dude. And he was like, he'll pull you for like $50. And I was like, wow, fuck it. Okay, sure, let's do it. So I go to this company that he works at, this rental company, and I'm like, hey dude, we talk a little bit, and I end up going to him and his buddy's house to arm wrestle, and my God, I got my ass handed to me. And it was so amazing to me, because I knew in gym lifts, like overhead press or bench press, whatever, I was so much stronger than Hunter at this, at certain lifts. And this dude, it took everything I had at the time just to hold him. And it didn't make any sense to me. And my brother and me started watching videos, and we started learning about it, and I started learning about how much of this training that I could do, and I could pretty much do all of it. I could literally go in the gym and train as hard as I could as hard as I physically could in this, and I could dump everything I have into it, and it's not going to hurt me. So I started to fall in love with arm wrestling then, and then we started the Greenwood Mafia, and we started the team here in Greenwood, and we started pulling, and we met a bunch of people and everything. And ever since then, man, I've been arm wrestling. I've been arm wrestling like crazy since then. I've been training like crazy since then. I've been in love with it ever since. The people are great. The teams are great. The community's great. The information is getting better. There's not a whole lot of not a lot of good information unless you know who to talk to, but it's getting there. And I am so much happier now that I had an outing to really train and really push and get as strong as my body would let me get, and without the cost of my back. So that's pretty much why. Now, if I had found arm wrestling and I hadn't had a bad back, I may have still done it. I really love the sport, and I think I would have still loved the sport then. But it would have definitely probably been put on the back burner at that point in my life for strongman if I would have had the ability. But you get what you get, and you got to learn to make the best of everything you can. So my whole point of this is, if you're somebody who has a health condition, or if you're really just mad or pissed at the world because it feels like you wasn't handed the stack of cards, the hand that you wanted, it doesn't matter really, because there is a place for you, I promise. You can have one arm, you can be missing a couple of fingers, you can have a lot of problems, you can have back problems, shoulder problems, and you can figure out a way to arm wrestle. I don't care. 100%. And that's like the biggest draw for me. You have people of all sorts of backgrounds or injuries or things that happen, and they don't, they can barely walk, or, they can barely talk, but they can arm wrestle. And it's such a great, great thing. So never sell yourself short when it comes to feeling like you have nothing, because I promise there is somewhere for you to go, in the sport or in a sport or in something. Just put your mind to something, and you can be better than you were yesterday, better than you are tomorrow, the next day. So just push harder than last time, train harder than last time, as Greg Doucette would say, and be better than you were last time. And you don't have to be the best. You just have to be better than you were. Any amount of progress is still progress. So, hope you liked the video. I don't like deep topics, but I gave you one anyway. Stay strong. If you have any questions, let me know. If you ever want to talk, let me know. Comment, subscribe. Have a blessed and beautiful day, guys. Appreciate y'all watching.